This is WWE Wrestling Legend Hall of Famer Tito Santana.
This is WWE NXT superstar Lexis King.
And you are listening to the Source Wrestling Podcast. Arriba!
And you're listening to the Source Wrestling Podcast. Long live Lexis King.
You're looking at the best there
Austin
is.
316.
What do you guys want to talk about? I have a lot of things I want to get off my chest. I'm the best. I'm the best in the world.
Let me talk to you. Yeah.
We will rest
Welcome back, guys. Welcome back, and happy WrestleMania weekend. It is finally here. You are listening to The Source, WWE, AEW, All Things Wrestling Podcast, episode number 26 with Joe
and
Mike.
Yeah.
It is an exciting time to be a wrestling fan, folks. It is WrestleMania weekend. We no longer have to wait. It is upon us. On this episode, though, we're going to talk about the exciting week leading up to this WrestleMania weekend. We're going to be covering Monday Night Raw for 124, WWE NXT for 224, and AEW Dynamite for 324. Let us talk to you. Here we go.
It's WrestleMania weekend,
brother. And we start today's show with WWE Raw for 124, live from the Barclays Center in Brooklyn, New York. And this is the highest gate of any Monday Night Raw in history, folks. It's crazy to think about. Even Attitude Era days, everything. This is number one, the most sold out, the biggest gate Monday Night Raw in history. And it starts off with none other than the final boss. It is The Rock. He's coming out to his new final boss entrance, looking menacing, and he's got the old school cow vest that looked like cow print vest he had from the Attitude Era days. And he comes out and he's letting the world know that he made Cody bleed. He took the belt. He's a man of his word. He promised that he was gonna wipe Mama Rhodes' son's blood on this belt, and he delivered that. He's also going on to tell the crowd that something feels different in Brooklyn. It is the highest selling gate at a Monday Night Raw ever, and he's acknowledging that, and he brings out then the tribal chief himself, Roman Reigns, the WWE undisputed champion. And this is where things get interesting, guys. Roman Reigns comes out, and then he obviously is asking the Barclays Center to acknowledge him. We had some resistance. We had some Cody chants. And Roman is saying if you saw his A&E documentary that aired last week that you would know. But in case you didn't, his sweater says family above everything. And that's what this entire thing is about to him. They're just trying to let everybody know that it's bloodline over everything.
Yep.
And they're going to do everything it takes, to come out victorious at WrestleMania and enter Seth freaking
especially if
Rollins,
it's bloodline rules.
Oh, of course, yeah. Which we have a feeling. We have a feeling that's what it's going to be. Bloodline rules, just to make it that much more interesting. And out comes Seth freaking Rollins, Shield style, in the crowd. And if you guys noticed, there was this kid who was standing right next to him who was literally just filming.
It was a nice touch.
In his face, though. I felt bad for Seth Rollins.
Yeah.
This kid was literally filming
I
in
saw memes
Seth.
about it.
Like, bro, there was no need to be filming that close to Seth Rollins, But he's coming out. He's saying he's ready for a fight. He wants to fight The Rock. He wants to fight Roman. He's calling everybody out. And unfortunately, the final boss says you can't just, call out the tribal chief. You can't just fight the final boss. How about this? You get Solo. You can have the enforcer in a match later on Monday Night Raw. And this opening segment was very exciting. It is the go-home show of Monday Night Raw, the last one before WrestleMania. So they got to, turn up the gas a little bit, if you will. And it's also notable that the match between Seth Rollins and Solo Sikoa is a Bloodline rules match, which is, what we could see at WrestleMania. So after this, we get a video package, a recap of Becky Lynch hijacking Rhea Ripley's MMA Hour interview. If you guys saw that, that was pretty cool. There were some really good MMA Hour interviews this week, including CM Punk, Rhea Ripley, Cody Rhodes. Really good stuff, guys. But as for Raw, we now get a backstage interview with Becky Lynch, and she says she's here tonight to finish what she started in the podcast studio over there at MMA Hour. And Becky plans to be in the ring later on, and she's wondering if Rhea Ripley's going to answer the call. And that brings us to the first match of the night. It is the Judgment Day versus the New Day. And DIY in an 8-man tag team match. And this is kind of more build to this 6-pack ladder match coming up this weekend at WrestleMania. All the teams that are in it are involved here. And the Judgment Day looks strong, in my opinion. If you guys,
they could get stronger with some additions that possibly.
Yes,
in the
yeah,
works
Andrade.
there.
We've talked about this, but they're looking good. Towards the end, Priest then catches Kofi Kingston in midair, drops Johnny Gargano from DIY with a big boot, and then Priest is just going ape shit over here. He chokeslams Kofi, connects with the Razor's Edge to pick up the victory. Your winners here via pinfall are the Judgment Day.
1, 2, 3.
And that's all she wrote, and they are rolling with a win into WrestleMania. After this, it is talked about that the tribal chief, Roman Reigns, will be inducting none other than the wise man, Paul Heyman, into the WWE Hall of Fame, which is happening tonight as we record this. So it's going to be really cool to see that. For sure. Paul Heyman, very deserving of the Hall of Fame. Next up, we get a video package of the master himself, Chad Gable. He's helping Sami Zayn train for his upcoming match versus the Ring General at WrestleMania. And I guess our question has been answered. He is now taking Sammy is now taking Chad Gable's advice and training on how to beat the Ring General. Still don't think
maybe
it's
that's
enough.
what he needs to take things to the next level.
For sure.
Get that Intercontinental title back.
Yes. And after this, it's Rhea Ripley and Damian Priest. They are livid that Dom brought Legado del Fantasma into the Judgment Day's hangout or clubhouse, whatever you want to call it, without them talking beforehand. And Priest tells Dominic he needs to cut this out. He's really getting sick of it. So Dom is on thin ice maybe in the Judgment Day. Second match of the night now, it's Sami Zayn versus Bronson Reed in a rematch. The Ring General Gunther got involved last time during their last go, and Sammy took that loss. So Sammy's really in need of a win here rolling into WrestleMania. He hits a rolling crucifix for a 2 count. Heavy body shots after that. Bronson just shrugs off a clothesline from Sami Zayn like he didn't even hit him, and he hits a leaping body block. Bronson now he's talking junk to Sammy while he's hitting overhand chops, and Zayn just springboards off the ropes and clothesline Bronson Reed, into next Tuesday at this point.
Yeah, he did.
But nevertheless, it ended up being Reed with a DVD for a 2 count, and we really thought it could have ended there.
Could have.
It was really close.
But that Sami Zayn can't lose twice before Mania.
No, he cannot. And this match is still a barn burner at this point, and out of nowhere, it's the Ring General Gunther. He is coming from the backstage area, and he's dragging out Chad Gable, who's missing a shoe, and he's acting completely knocked out, like Gunther took him out. He leveled him backstage or something like that, and he pulls him out there. Obviously, this causes for a huge distraction. This match is ruled as a no contest, and he just completely devastates Sami Zayn after this. He throws him into the LED Titantron. Zayn just refuses to stay down. He clocks Sami Zayn with the Intercontinental Championship, and it is done. It is good night. Yes, lights out. And we pan backstage now, and it's main event Jey Uso, and he runs into Lil Wayne. Wheezy himself in the backstage area of all people. It's New York. He's at the Barclays Center. I get it.
Got some interesting news, though.
Absolutely. He's saying he's going to be performing and and releasing a brand new single at WrestleMania 40. So we got to look out for that. Lil Wayne is dope. And it's next announced that The Rock will induct his late grandmother, Laya Maivia, into the WWE Hall of Fame. Before we get into this third match of the night, it's the team of Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell again versus Ivy Nile and Maxine Dupree. And Maxine's really looking to prove herself. You know, she's had a really hard time getting heat on the internet for, still being very green. And she's trying, guys. All right, she was a cheerleader before this. You can't forget that for the Rams. Ivy Nile with a spinning enziguri and follows that up with a running leg lock, lariat, if you will. She rocks, Indy Hartwell now rocks Ivy Nile with a forearm smash, and LeRae shoves Nile off the top turnbuckle. Indy is now arguing with Candice LeRae, so they're going back into this dysfunctional team. You know, they can't get it together type deal, but they've been winning, not really clean, but they've been winning. Maxine comes in now off the tag and drop kicks Indy Hartwell into Candice LeRae. And Maxine rolls up Indy Hartwell 1, 2, 3. They win this match. And Candice LeRae is livid with Indy after the match.
Yep.
She's really, really yelling at her and, Indy's
like
just trying to do
something's
things
about
the
to go
right
down.
way. Yeah, right. Looks like that team's about to blow up.
Yeah, they're about to face each other and settle their differences.
Seriously,
and whatever
man.
the case may be.
Yeah, so the winners of this match, it's Ivy Nile and Maxine Dupree via pinfall. And we're now, we cut to another segment. It's Jey Uso. He tells Seth Rollins that he's got his back tonight in the Bloodline Rules match, which is important because obviously The Rock didn't travel alone. Solo's not going to be out there alone. He could use some backup. And then we get this awesome segment with Drew McIntyre. It's the eulogy. He's in a funeral home. All right. He looks like he's at a wake or a funeral, and he's standing in front of a coffin. And he turns around and he goes, "Look in my eyes. What do you see? CM Punk has no match in Philly." So it's Drew McIntyre
Mind games.
burying CM Punk cerebrally with the cerebral. And it's just, he can do no wrong with this character. And you really, really got to think that they're going to give Drew McIntyre this championship night one WrestleMania. You really do. And it's going to lead right into maybe SummerSlam, where Drew McIntyre can go against CM Punk and they can finally have this battle that they're building as Punk is injured, which I think is really cool. Fourth match of the night. It is the highlight of the night. It is Ricochet versus Viking
We've
Raider.
been seeing a lot lately.
A lot of Ricochet.
He's been looking really good
He's
lately
been
as
looking
well.
great. He's showing his old school self. I feel like they're allowing it more. And he's really going hard with everything he's doing. He's going up against Viking Raider Ivar, who is back. He's medically cleared now. We still don't know what happened with Ivar, but he is back. And he's looking good. Definitely no ring rust, with the week sitting out. Him and Ricochet had a good match. Ricochet's kind of getting the upper hand a little bit, and Ivar just comes back with a springboard cross-body block, and that was a close one. That was a near fall, count of 2. Ivar then goes for that doomsault, that big man moonsault that he does.
What a rush.
Devastating. What a rush.
Yeah.
But Ricochet ducks out of the way. Ricochet then catches Ivar in midair, which is impressive. If you guys didn't see that, run it back. He caught him and held him in midair and hit a fall-away slam.
that.
Hit a fall-away slam, and they even showed Samantha Irvin. She was just like, bruh, that's my man.
Yeah.
And he's a lucky guy, but we're not going to get into that tonight.
And that's a story for another day.
That's what
listeners.
she deserves a whole episode. Ricochet then connects with the awesome 630 senton splash. There are multiple rotations in that, and it's very dangerous. He hits it hard, and he wins this match with that 630 senton splash to pick up the win. So Ricochet
It's a
is
630.
It's a 630. It's that many rotations. He does a full
Ricochet.
flip. Yeah, he does a full tumble salt, if you will, and then another half of one, and lands on his back to finish that move. So Ricochet wins that match via pinfall. And next we have Dominic Mysterio. He's introducing Andrade El Idolo to Santos Escobar. Dominic says that if Andrade can take care of the Ricochet problem they're having, they'll actually consider making him a full-on member of the Judgment Day, and that's interesting. Because we've been seeing it build up for a few weeks now.
It doesn't really fit, in my opinion. I don't see how he fits into the power struggle of that faction.
Yeah,
but,
that's exactly what it is,
too. Is it Damian Priest? Is it Rhea Ripley, who's
right.
the leader?
Right.
Is it, I don't know.
It's tough, but Andrade could have something fresh to bring to the faction, especially if maybe Dominic's on his way out because he's getting in trouble. Who knows? Up next, it's Damage Control, and they plan to show up Bayley, Jade Cargill, and Naomi, and Bianca Belair at WrestleMania, and they say that they will realize that they are indeed the future of the business, and that means we're right on the Rhea Ripley and Becky Lynch part of Monday Night Raw. And Becky Lynch comes out. She's saying the man has come around. The man has come around to Brooklyn, and she came looking for a fight. She said she started one earlier, but we don't have to wait till WrestleMania to finish it. We can finish it right here, right now. Rhea Ripley, she says we've done all the talking we needed to do. She just wants a fight at this point. And out comes Raw General Manager Adam Pearce, and he's like, no, you guys can boo me all you want. It may be April Fool's Day, and I'm the April Fool for trying to do the right thing. He says, we're not doing this tonight. After what we saw earlier, there's no way we can risk, ruining one of the biggest WrestleMania matches we've ever seen. So Adam Pearce is basically letting her know that she's waiting until WrestleMania, and she's being asked to leave the ring now. And Rhea comes out. She's laying out every security guard there is. There's not enough security in the world for Rhea Ripley and Becky Lynch.
She literally did mow them all down.
She did. And they get into a massive, just a brawl to close that segment. And, they're coming in hot. It's WrestleMania time now. Fifth match of the night, it is Damage Control with Io Sky versus Shayna Baszler, Zoe Stark, and Tegan Nox in a 6-woman tag team match. And this was another build. You can only assume this is another, hype build for WrestleMania here with Damage Control. They got to look strong here.
Get on the hype train.
Everyone wants to get on the hype train.
Why wouldn't you?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
It ends up later on going, Tegan Nox actually looked pretty good in this match. She hits a running uppercut. She goes for a running cannonball strike, but Dakota Kai ducks out of the way. And Kai delivers the face wash at the same time as tagging in Kairi Sane. And, whenever she comes in, Kairi Sane, she hits that insane elbow. It is over.
It's always the insane elbow.
I know. They're really selling that move. And
because she's,
pretty
in my
cool.
opinion, she's not really a believable wrestler.
No, the move's cool, but
that must be why.
Yeah, that must be. Damage Control wins via pinfall. Seth Rollins now runs into Drew McIntyre in the backstage area, and he tells McIntyre he's not dead yet. Nothing's going to stop him. Even this Bloodline Rules match, not even the Bloodline Rules match he's about to have with Solo Sikoa is going to stop him from beating him at WrestleMania. And his main event, last match of the night, it is the Enforcer, Solo Sikoa versus Seth freaking Rollins, the World Heavyweight Champion. This match was out of control. It was Bloodline Rules. There was literally nothing that can be done to stop this match. We saw tables, we saw chairs. There were tons of really, really cool spots, and you had to kind of feel like there was going to be some interference here, obviously. And Sikoa's going for the Avalanche Samoan drop, but Rollins just counters it with the Sunset Flip Powerbomb through a table. Rollins connects with the Stomp, and out comes Jimmy Uso. He super kicks Seth freaking Rollins. Jimmy now starts brawling on the stage with Jay, and it's all out chaos from here. And here's the final boss. It's The Rock. He attacks Jey Uso from behind. Rock sends Jay face first into the LED Titantron. And Rollins just starts smiling at The Rock now. And here comes Cody. He's there. He shouldn't be there. The Rock destroyed him. He comes out. He storms into the ring. Rhodes is throwing haymakers at Rock, and Rhodes and Rollins are teeing off on the final boss together, and Rhodes gets Rock in position for the rock bottom on the announce table at this point. You really think
like
it's going to
we were
happen?
Gonna see.
I know.
It was like, okay, yeah, they're
going to do this
too. Like, this is what it's going to be like. And
nope.
then,
Nah.
Dun, dun,
Dun, dun, dun. He gets the Rock in position for the rock bottom, and here's the tribal chief who said he left earlier. He said he wasn't even there. He yanks Cody Rhodes off the announce table, and Rollins is now getting involved. He's throwing strikes at Roman Reigns left and right, and Reigns drives Rollins face first into the steel ring post, takes him out. All hell is breaking loose now at the Barclays Center. Roman Reigns delivers the Superman punch to Seth Rollins. The final boss, The Rock, now rolls Cody Rhodes back into the ring, and Roman Reigns hits Cody with the spear. Reigns and Rock hug it out, and the Bloodline viciously whips Cody and Seth Rollins with Cody's own weight belt this time. It was not the Mama Rose.
By the Bloodline.
Yeah. And
even the referee caught it.
I was just about to say that after the show, the referee caught some of them whips too. The final boss just does not care. This match ends in a no contest, guys. Very exciting episode on the road to WrestleMania for sure. Now, we don't have to wait any longer. It's over. There's no more Monday Night Raws until the Raw after WrestleMania, and that is going to end this portion of the Source WWE AEW All Things Wrestling podcast, and we are going to take it and give it to Mike. He's going to hit you with that lightning round of NXT.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages.
Degeneration X? No, just kidding. We can't do that yet.
It's time for your NXT review, and I like to talk fast and get through it in a lightning sense. We started it off as a lightning segment, but I don't know. I'm kind of really into NXT right now.
Yeah, and it's definitely interesting right now with Stand and Deliver coming up as well. It's WrestleMania weekend. 4/2/24 NXT. Here we go.
NXT opens up to Carmelo entering the building with his security, of course.
Of course.
And then it shows Trick Williams entering the building. Everything is sizing up for a big meeting they're going to have at the end of the episode. We're really stoked to see them face-to-face for the first time in a long time. So,
oh, yeah.
I'm sure they're both going to have very interesting things to say.
Yes, what is the Don going to have to say,
too? The Don.
What is he going to have to say?
The Don, well, him and Ilya Dragon have their own problems. You know what I'm saying? Out comes Nathan Frazier and Axiom to start the show. It's going to be a triple threat match for a title shot at Stand and Deliver against the Wolf Dogs.
All right.
Nathan Frazier and Axiom come out. As I said, the LWO, we're talking, Joaquin Wilde, Danny Cruz, Luke Gallows, and Carl Anderson, the OC.
Good Brothers, the OC.
They're still going by the OC, I guess, but
yeah,
they'll always
I always
be
know
known
as the Good Brothers.
As the Good Brothers.
Brother.
Yeah. Wilde and Axiom start off the match, and also Luke Gallows is a triple threat kind of deal where all three are in the ring and they tag in their partner there.
Like a tornado tag type of thing?
We got Gallows flashing his power while Axiom and Wilde, they're showcasing their speed. And Axiom and Nathan Frazier look great. Pulling off fast, accurate moves. It kind of forgot that Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson were in this match.
It kind of outshining them, yeah.
Which is surprising because, everybody, I think, expected them to come in and be the favorites.
For sure.
But everybody really piled up on the top turnbuckle, and I thought we were about to see like a 6-man, suplex kind of deal going on.
Yep.
But the OC just comes over and breaks it up and isolates Axiom and Nathan Frazier, and they pull moves off on each. Luke Gallows beats up Axiom, but LWO gives him a double missile kick off the top rope, which was pretty flashy.
Double missile drop kick. I like it.
OC had their power moments, but the LWO and Frazier and Axiom did most of the damage, as I said. De La Cruz with a huge corkscrew off the top rope, big spot onto a pile of wrestlers. The OC hits the Magic Killer, but the pin's broken up. Axiom dives off the ring and takes out Gallows, sets up the 540 off the top rope by Nathan Frazier for the 1-2-3.
Boom.
And your speed champion looking tag team there, Nathan Frazier and Axiom, move on to face the Wolf Dogs at the next PLE, which is this weekend. And,
Stand and deliver, man.
Stand and
It's
deliver.
at WrestleMania weekend. You got to have that. And then that's tomorrow morning at this point when we're recording this. That's like morning time today. That's when it's coming out today.
That's facts. So Lexus King promo calling out Mr. Stone and Von Wagner. They got a nice little, rivalry going on. You know, Lexus King's going to go against Von Wagner later in the episode, so he's just calling out Mr. Stone, making Von Wagner even more mad. Says Von can't even take care of himself, and he needs Mr. Stone to function as a human. So how is he going to hang with him in the ring? The king, he says. How is he going to hang with the king in the ring?
Long live Lexus King, like he says at the beginning of every episode of our show.
That's right.
Thank you.
Ilya Dragunov is outside in the parking lot, says he's not nervous, but he's on high alert, finds his car, but there was a boot on it. He couldn't drive it because there was a boot in the tire. He gets approached by a car, an SUV, and is demanded to go in it. Gets in it, and it drives away, and it fades away. They said they're going to see the Dawn.
Oh, boy.
Next
is it a setup? Who knows?
Who knows? Next is Fallon Henley versus JC Jane. Both Henley and JC Jane come with a crew. JC Jane uses her hard-hitting moves on Fallon Henley to control most of the early match. Fallon Henley runs out to clean house, but as she gets back in the ring, JC Jane catches her with a huge knee to the face for the 1-2-3 and gets the win. But afterwards, it's mayhem, and everybody's at each other's throats, and Ava comes out and proclaims that the 6-woman tag match at Stand and Deliver will happen between these 6 girls. And after the run-ins backstage by both parties, she has no choice but to make this match happen. After the match, each party left and went by Ava in gorilla position backstage. And she turned to each crew and let them know that pretty much,
this is happening. Don't have a choice. Yeah.
So next we have Lexus King versus Von Wagner. Von Wagner runs in, bringing it full force to Lexus right off the bat. Momentum turns on a missed shoulder in the corner by Wagner, crushing his shoulder against the turnbuckle. Lexus takes his turn beating up Von Wagner, reversals back and forth. It includes a big boot by Von Wagner, which sets up a double underhook suplex.
Nice.
Von tries to powerbomb Lexus through the table, but he reverses it into a DDT.
Nice.
Pretty cool. They get back in the ring after that, and Lexus hits a coronation for the 1-2-3.
Yeah, man, that move will do it every single time. It's pretty impressive for sure. Our guy, Lexus King, picks up the win.
Yep. Natalia's backstage coaching Carmen Petrovic. Out comes Roxanne Perez, says she shouldn't listen to Natalia anymore because she's old news.
Oh, man, poor Natalia.
Yeah.
Never gets the respect she deserves.
Really doesn't. But then we have Ariana Grace backstage. Ren Sinclair comes in. Ariana's looking for Gigi because she's going to make her over. She's going to make her into princess, whatever.
Yep.
Ren thinks Gigi shouldn't be changed. Ariana gets offended, challenges her to a match. It's going to happen later tonight. Next up, we have Lola Vice versus Carmen Petrovic. Both fighters come from karate and MMA backgrounds, so it starts off with some strikes and some submission holds and a lot of that stuff. But Lola Vice ends up getting her into the sharpshooter right in front of Natalia with her tongue out.
That's a slap in the face.
And she ends up tapping right in front of her mentor. And
classic submission, though. One of my favorites.
Lola Vice, she's actually got some pop to her. I hope to see her doing bigger things.
I like it.
So it cuts to Ilya. He gets out of the car and goes into a warehouse where they are cutting things with table saws. They're doing all kinds of things with different machinery right in front of him to try to intimidate him.
Try to get him to talk.
Yeah, he goes up to a room and is surrounded by mobsters. In enters Tony and the immediate family. Tony and Ilya sit down at the table together and it fades out. All right, now we have the Supernova sessions. We have Metaphor sitting down with it's kind of like the Grayson Waller kind of thing they
Okay.
got going on.
Yeah. Little talk show.
Yeah. Noam Dar is the one that introduces. Out comes the first guest, Roxanne Perez. Then after her, Lyra Valkyria comes out. Lyra says Roxanne has an excuse for everything and can't be accountable. Calls her out for being a hypocrite, for being mad about the cash-in, but she has cashed herself in before and is a hypocrite. So she got cashed in on by Lola Vice during her championship match recently.
Okay.
And she's saying, well, she's a hypocrite for being mad about that because that's what you originally did.
Right. You did the same thing.
Yeah.
So what's going on? What's really going on?
She's playing on the hypocrite. Says all she does is win. Lyra is saying all she does is win, and all Roxanne does is bitch.
Fair enough.
After Stand and Deliver, Roxanne will have a whole lot more to bitch about, she says. Roxanne says there is no perfect champion, not even Lyra is a perfect champion.
Yeah.
Roxanne punches Lyra, and they brawl, but Lyra slams her through a table and sends her message.
That'll put her down for a little while. Yeah.
Definitely did. But then Joe Gacy comes out to fight Oba Femi.
The wild
What
man.
a matchup. A kooky one.
The wild and crazy
but
guy.
as Joe Gacy is coming out, Sean Spears comes out and attacks Joe Gacy from behind with a chair.
There goes that.
Yep. Oba brings Joe into the ring, and the bell rings. But Joe gets another burst of energy, hammering on Oba. But, Oba uses his power to gain control. Gacy with some clever counters, but he can't handle Femi for long at any point in this match.
So he's just getting rocked at this point. Yeah.
And then it looks like Gacy's setting up an apron move where Oba was outside the ring. He was on the apron, and Oba smacks him. The loudest I've heard in a while.
He probably asked them to do that.
And then they're in the ring, and you see Oba, and he picks him up and he does these things where he just throws the wrestlers.
Right.
And he throws Gacy. The camera comes off
you said
Gacy,
it didn't look good,
and
right?
I don't know. The camera comes off it. You don't see Gacy the rest of the the match because the ref calls the match and says it's a no contest.
A lot of these no contests lately.
Oba keeps his title, and they fade out, and you don't see Gacy again. You're wondering what happens to him.
Interesting.
I think it's a work, but we'll see. Backstage to Lyra and Tatum Paxley. Tatum asks her why she lost her cool. She says it's Roxanne's fault for pushing her to that level. Then we have Ariana Grace versus Ren Sinclair. This is a back and forth matchup. Seems to be power coming from Ren and submission from Ren. And Grace is more like the technical,
more strategic,
calculated wrestler. But Ren Sinclair has a big miss in the corner, and Ariana Grace ends up being the opportunist, technical, rolls her up,
takes advantage of the situation.
But
That's all you got to do.
She does like a back bend, kind of like a Charlotte Flair back bend, grabs the ropes for extra
extra leverage.
And it gets a 1, 2, 3.
Boom. That'll
it's a big
do it.
win for Ariana Grace. She's starting to pop a little bit. She's doing like Lola Vice. She didn't win the contract, but she's getting her spotlight. They're starting to push her a little bit. So
she's paying her dues.
Yeah. Now we have the final Don promo. He's sitting at the table with Ilya Dragunov in a private room with the family and the extended family around the table. It's very intimidating.
It was very epic, I gotta say.
The Don's like, hey, thank you for coming. Sorry about the parking situation. He put the boot in his car.
Sorry
He's like,
about
I took
your
care
parking.
of it. Don't worry about it. It's off your car. Ilya says, the Don's mind games are impressive. He's really impressed by his mind games. And Ilya talks about where he brought him and says, is this scary in your world? Am I supposed to be scared?
Right.
The Don proclaims that he is going to be the next NXT champion and that this dinner is to celebrate the end of his reign. The Don explains that it's just business here. It's not personal.
Forget about
food
it.
comes out, and he says, enjoy your last supper.
Your last supper.
Yep.
Guys, it's got to be with that accent.
Yeah, winding down to the last match of the night, we have Saul Ruka, who is
doing
making
some amazing things right now.
Making this awesome return to the ring versus Blair Davenport. Saul Ruka has been showcased every week, I feel, in the past 3 weeks, and I like that.
Yeah, I've been hearing you say her name a lot, and I've seen some clips of her,
I'm
and
interested to see what they
she
do with it,
is
I don't know
killing
where
it.
she fits into the main picture or
Right.
the big picture, but she's entertaining.
She's got the moves for sure.
Yeah, Sol Ruca seems to be the aggressor early on. And I'm going to be real with you. It seemed like Sol Ruca was in control for the whole matchup.
Yeah,
but,
it was pretty commanding.
Yeah, her unique moves start to steal the show. Sol Ruca holds Davenport over her head and drops her down to the ground behind her. Total showcase of power.
Yeah.
Blair Davenport
She's got
slams
brute
Ruca's
force.
knee against the steps, which I thought might have been a turning point. But then Sol Ruca gets control again, does a cartwheel along the top rope into a DDT.
Yeah, that was like a springboard cartwheel
But-
tornado DDT type thing, and it was dope.
Crazy. But she doesn't get the 3 count on that. She goes for the soul
I know,
snatcher.
what a kick out.
Yeah, she goes for her big, special move, the soul snatcher, but gets dropped by Davenport and lands a power move on Ruca. But Ruca, the smart wrestler, ends up figuring out how to roll her up into a quick 1-2-3. We're seeing a lot of that.
Yeah,
A
for
quick
sure.
1-2-3 pin.
Them victory rolls, man, they work every time.
She got her. So
There's a reason why they call it a victory roll.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
because it's a victory roll.
Yeah. It's not because you're losing when you do it.
Yep. So Josh Briggs is backstage with Dijak. He asked if he saw what happened to Gacy. Then Obafemi pops up, walks up, says none of them have a chance because they're in a triple threat match. Then it goes to Gacy, and he's like climbing
on Ava's desk.
He's climbing
Yeah,
on Ava's
man.
desk. All
He's, like, dying.
Yeah, and he asks
Give me
for a
Spears.
match. Yeah, against Spears at Stand and Deliver. She says, "Yeah, just get out of here."
Yeah, she
Like-
was reluctant, but she just
Are
wanted
you
this
okay?
crazy dude to get
Yeah.
out of her office, and he's sweating. He's probably bleeding. Like, he gets his match, though, with Spears at Stand and Deliver, and that is set to be
true.
a good one.
It's true. So out comes, Carmelo Hayes. It's going to be this face-to-face. And then Trick comes out with a massive pop.
Oh, yeah, that dude is so over,
Yeah.
bro.
I think we get to see heel Carmelo.
Heel Mellow, yeah, and it was pretty
interesting,
intimidating with his overflow of security.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And he's all blacked out. He's, he's not
NXT
missing.
is on fire right now.
Oh, yeah, he's
Fire.
not missing. No pun
When the
intended.
top is so stacked, it tends to trickle down.
For sure.
They move some people back down to NXT. It's just really stacked right now.
It's working. It's working. Props Shawn Michaels. It's working.
Trick gets the mic first. He tries to patch things up right off the bat.
Tries.
He said, it wasn't supposed to be like this. That they built the bond so strong.
Yeah, they were supposed to be brothers, man. He's
Yeah,
saying
he
this
said-
is one person that he used to call his brother, and now he's his enemy.
Yeah, and he says they're the first 2 black men to main event a PLE, paid live event.
Yep.
WrestleMania weekend.
That's history.
Ever.
That's history.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's never been 2 in the same match, you know what I mean? And these guys can, they can really stand and deliver, pun intended, on the impact of the match and making history as well.
Yep. He says, he's going to war with the man that he used to call his brother. Carmelo says Trick came a long way, gives him a little bit of credit.
Yeah,
But then he says,
gives him some props, yeah.
Either way, at Stand to Deliver, it's Mello versus Trick, and that's not changing. Trick says Mello ruined things, and Mello says, of course I did. He did on purpose. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Trick says his days of taking a backseat are long gone.
Yep.
Mello says he used to be so humble, and he's been hot for like 6 months. Congrats. You did it. But he says
He's been hot for 3
3 years. Yeah.
And that really shut him up, kind of, man, because, he's kind of not lying.
Yep. Carmelo says it's the next guy's turn soon, and Trick's going to be a person of the past, and they're going to switch on him like Nintendo.
Yeah. He's dropping some bars
Yeah.
on Trick Williams right now.
Trick says Melo's just jealous. Melo says he's not jealous, and the people in the crowd won't be in the ring with him. He will be.
Right.
And he says that he won't miss.
Yeah, because Mello don't miss.
Mm-hmm.
He goes, when I shoot, I don't miss. And that is going to end this lightning round of NXT. Mike, we appreciate it once again. And we appreciate you guys listening and sticking with us while we sit here in front of a microphone and talk to you. We are going to transition now into AEW Dynamite, which was a great episode, 4/3/24. AEW Dynamite 4/3/24, live from the DCU Center in Worcester, Mass. And Mike was there.
I was there.
Mike was there. He was working it, man. Very good episode here, live from DCU in Worcester, Mass, only about 45 minutes away. And right off the bat, we get the Rated R Superstar.
Let me just say, right off the bat, that, not really going to talk much about what I do or how I'm involved or what the case may be. But let me just say that it's very interesting seeing the inner workings of how things work with AEW behind the scenes.
Yeah, it's a whole different company,
Just by walking back the backstage area, very locked down, very secretive, very video surveillance.
By Tony
Backstage
Khan
area.
himself.
Yep. And also, it seems that, it's cool to see how, I didn't really get to see it or much of it or any of it really, but it was obvious that, the wrestlers kind of, practice things before they go out on stage.
Absolutely. They
go
got to
out
make sure
in
the spots are looking
before
good.
everybody gets there, before staff gets there, and just practice and make sure, that everything is being coordinated right, and that's pretty cool. All the planning that goes into the
it's not just go out there and call it in the ring all the time. You know what I mean? There are some spots
And
that
I
are
will
going to be
tell you
planned
that
out.
there was a huge pop for Edge.
Oh, yeah.
And I will say Edge every
Edge
time.
again. It's the Rated R superstar Adam Copeland. He comes out to a massive pop. Like Mike just said, he was there. He got to experience that pop. And he grabs a microphone and he's basically, in other words, responding to CM Punk's interview on the MMA Hour. He's saying that he loves AEW. Maybe his review's coming up, Mike, and he's really gotta try to get that extra bonus. He's saying he loves AEW. There's a reason why he wants to retire there. All the while this arena's half full. All right, there's not even 3,000 people sitting there, and he's saying that there's a reason he came to AEW, and he thinks they have the best roster in the world. He says he put this locker room up against any of the locker rooms that he's been involved in, and that is a bold statement from Adam Copeland himself. He's saying, look at the talent they just signed, Will Ospreay, Mercedes Moné, the list goes on. There's no other place, he says, that he would rather finish this illustrious career of his than All Elite Wrestling. And up next, guys, it's the first match of the night. He just talked about him. You now see him. It is the aerial assassin Will Ospreay versus Powerhouse Hobbs. It is Will versus Will in this match, and I thought this match was very good. Two completely different styles here in the ring. You have Ospreay with the aerial style, Powerhouse Hobbs just with that beast mode Mark Henry style, and they clashed. And I gotta say, a Powerhouse really lived up to his name. He really took it to Will Ospreay here inside of the ring and out. And just when you think that Will Ospreay might take a loss here, on the road to Dynasty, he finds a way. He hits that hidden blade. 1, 2, 3. Your winner is Will Ospreay. And the match was definitely good. The energy from Copeland's first promo really set the tone for it, and Powerhouse Hobbs just looked like a beast, but Will Ospreay wins this match. After the match, though, Hobbs is getting in Will Ospreay's face, and Don Callis then tries to get between the two of them, and Ospreay heads to the back, and it's Bryan Danielson coming out for match number 2 of the night.
Yep.
And he comes out to a really good reception as well, the American Dragon, and he's going against Lance Archer here, who is a monster for sure. They don't call him a monster for no reason. That is that. Really good match, technical at times, and really hard hitting as well. Bryan Danielson, rather. It's like Mike with Edge. I keep calling him Daniel Bryan.
How can you not?
I know. He was Daniel Bryan for so long, but
They know what you mean.
yeah, man. All right, you get me. These two guys really went at it hard, man. And Bryan Danielson, though, to no avail, wasn't looking good for him for a little while. But he hits that high kick, gets the 3 count. With that knee, the running knee, whatever you want to call it. Your winner of this match is Bryan Danielson, and he is on a roll here, yeeting his way onto AEW Dynasty. And now it's Renee Paquette, and she welcomes Lionheart Chris Jericho. Jericho said even though he and Hook had an agreement last week, something Hook said was kind of odd, and he just wants to clear it up, so hit the Hook signal, guys. They hit that signal, which is cool. It's like the bat signal. And out comes Hook. Jericho says when you play the game...
looking real like
he's looking,
thug, you know what I mean?
he's all
Like,
thugged out. He's got the hood on. You can't even see his face. Jericho says when you play the game at the highest of highs, the highest possible level, the rules are different. He says, and
I saw it from a different angle, and when I came out to look at it live, and I looked out into the stage area, it looked like that Hook was just standing there with two girls.
no, he came out by himself.
No, I know.
Oh,
but
backstage.
He was with, the interviewer was a female.
Oh, yeah,
I
it was
couldn't
Renee
see that from
Paquette.
where I was.
Yep.
And then Chris Jericho looked like a female from the
Oh,
distance
yeah,
I was
Chris-
at. And I was like, oh, Hook's on stage with a couple girls.
Oh man, poor Chris Jericho. That's probably why they said you can't bring any Jericho signs, because they don't want somebody holding a sign that says "Jericho's my drunk aunt."
That's funny.
Poor guy. So Hook comes out and Jericho's like, "Listen, Hook. I really want to do right by you here, and I understand why you don't trust me. Every tag team I've ever been in basically has ended up with me turning on them." And he says he doesn't have to trust him, does Jericho, but he asks if he can believe in him the way he believes in Hook, and Hook says he believes him so much they have a match actually coming up on Collision together. So he just he's like, bet, let's go. Switchblade's music hits now, and he's coming out to the ring for match number 3 of the night. Jay White doesn't even make it to the ring. Daddy ass, badass Billy Gunn comes out and just blasts him, before the match even officially starts. And it's just an all-out brawl now with Jay White in the Guns, Bullet Club Gold, breaking into Billy Gunn's house. Billy's really out here getting revenge. But the thing that puzzled me about this match, Mike, is that Jay White just got buried in this match.
Yeah.
Daddy ass it was him the whole way, a guy who's he's in great shape, but his prime has come and gone, and you're trying to build Switchblade Jay White as this big thing, and he's just getting smashed by 60-something-year-old Billy Gunn. That doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Questionable
That's how it is
booking.
in AEW. I talk about it all the time.
Yeah, questionable
Instead of the
booking
older
right now.
wrestlers putting the younger ones over,
Which they should
they're
be.
holding the titles. It's like, come on, especially Adam Copeland. Like, he should be in a faction with someone, bringing somebody up and having the other person in the faction have the title.
Yeah,
and
they
he's just
got to
involved,
give that
and
title
it's-
some
it's-
credibility,
come
so they
on.
choose him. I love Adam Copeland, but he doesn't need a title reign.
For whatever it's worth, he's getting a good pop. So maybe
Definitely.
they're on something. I don't know.
Yeah. Now, this match is won by Billy Gunn here, and like we said, it just got completely buried. Jay White, you kind of feel bad for him. The Acclaimed are here now to make the save, because there's a brawl going on after the match. It spills to the outside, where the Gun Club saved Jay White from getting suplexed through the announce table. And now Renee Paquette is joined by Willow Nightingale, Chris Statlander, and Stokely Hathaway. Willow is feeling great, she says. She loves this city because for years and years she was busting her ass in this town for Beyond Wrestling with Chris Statlander at a place called the White Eagle, which is their local wrestling spot, I guess, up in Worcester. And Willow was not sure if she could make it in wrestling, she says, but the cheers from the fans helped her blossom into the woman wrestler that she is today. And the one who is, not only is she, who she is today, but she's the one that's going to be challenging Julia Hart for the TBS Championship. And Hathaway says last week Willow had a banger and impressing himself and the entire world. And now in comes the CEO. It's Mercedes Moné. She is here and still not having a match yet. You really kind of worry that they're going to lose steam with her. They got to get her on TV, right away. But she's here, though, and she says she can't wait to watch Willow at the pay-per-view, but she's got next, she says. So, like we said, we really, they're building
rivalries.
Yes, but they really got to get her in the ring before, everybody just, the interest isn't as hot if they're just dragging it out. Match number 4 of the night.
That's all they
now.
got.
Yeah, I
big
know.
business, right? It was big business. We were supposed to see big business happen. The only thing that happened to big business was her. And it's like,
literally.
that wasn't enough.
And it was like a regular episode of Dynamite.
Tony Khan, honestly, here's my opinion. I'm sorry.
You fucking Mark.
Tony Khan I don't know if he ever was a wrestling fan, ever really knew
But that's
much
the thing.
about wrestling.
He's just
So,
such a fan. He just wants to collect all his real life favorite action figures. You know?
Think so? Because I feel like I'm saying the different thing. I'm saying that it seems to me like Tony Khan is just some guy who was bored, doesn't know anything about wrestling, bought a wrestling league. I'm just saying. Let me finish. Hold on. He basically bought a wrestling league. Like, and then he's making these moves that he's like, oh, the fans are going to think this is so huge, but he doesn't even know what the fans want.
I know. At times, it's weird with AEW because at times you get what you want, and at times you get what nobody wanted at the same time. So, but I'm still a fan. I still watch it. Tony Khan, you are questionable, though.
I'll watch it.
You are questionable. Match number 4 of the night. It's the AEW World Tag Team Championship Tournament match. It's the Best Friends and the Young Bucks. And this match, guys, ended in a way that I did not see coming. Orange Cassidy and Trent Beretta, they really went out and put on a show here against the Young Bucks, but the Young Bucks still managed to get this match done, and they move on in the tournament now for the tag team titles. Orange Cassidy and Trent Beretta are out, and after this match, it's just Trent Beretta and Orange. They're laid up in the ring. And out of nowhere, Trent Beretta just turns on Orange Cassidy. Heel turn, Trent Beretta. The Best Friends are done. No more. We'll see if that becomes a one-on-one rivalry now. And it's unbelievable because, they went for the hug and, the crowd were cheering for it. And he just hits that knee on Orange Cassidy. And he just walks right out to the backstage area. And match number 5 of the night, it is AEW Women's World Championship #1 contenders match. It is from the graveyards of Tijuana. It is Thunder Rosa versus Mariah May, Tony Storm's awesome protege right now, and a hell of a match between the two of them. It was a fair match. Tony Storm was out there on commentary, so that made things interesting. But Rosa countered the Mayday with a roll-up for 2. Big headbutt by Mariah May drops Thunder Rosa, and Mariah May looks for the Mayday again, but Thunder Rosa actually counters that with a backstabber, follows that up with the Tijuana Bomb, and that's a 1-2-3. The winner of this match is Thunder Rosa, and she is your new #1 contender for Tony Storm's AEW Women's World Championship. So that is interesting. That is a rivalry to be.
Yes.
Thunder Rosa has looked hot since she come back, from her absence there, and she is absolutely rolling right now. And Penta El Zero Miedo is backstage, one of my favorite luchadors from the CMLL. And AEW, he is challenging Adam Copeland now in the Cope Open. So we're going to see that on Collision. We're going to see Penta and Adam Copeland go at it for that TNT title now. And it is time, guys, it is time for the contract signing between Swerve Strickland and Samoa Joe for their heavyweight championship match at Dynasty. And it was an interesting one.
Yes, it was.
For sure. It starts off, with them jaw-jacking on the mic and, I'm the guy, no, you're not the guy type deal. And Swerve is just not backing down at this point, and he comes out with the chain around his neck like he always does with Prince Nana. And, Samoa Joe signs the contract. And before Swerve could even do it, he's ambushed. And Samoa Joe has the chain now, and he's just opening up Swerve Strickland with this chain. Shots to the face, and it looked like he was really getting hit with this thing. Was not looking good for Swerve Strickland, and he's laid out there. He's gushing, Mike. There's blood. Obviously, they saw, WWE using blood. Now we got to do more blood. Swerve was really just leaking out of his head. And
pretty cool way to do it.
Yeah, as Samoa Joe is walking away, thinking that Swerve is done. Swerve is he sits up, he grabs a mic, and he just starts laughing like this evil maniacal laugh where he's like, "Oh, if that's all you got, Samoa Joe, guess what?" He goes, "I love this shit. And if that's all you got, I am going to take your title at Dynasty." And then he takes this pen, Mike, and he just dips it into the blood that's on his head. and signs the contract for the match in his own blood. Swerve is an animal right now. I would not want to be going against him, even if I'm Samoa Joe. And not only does he sign the contract with his blood, he then wipes his hand on it. There's like the contract is soaked in Swerve's blood, and that sends Samoa Joe back to the ring now. And they scuffle for a bit, and then Samoa Joe ends up slamming Swerve Strickland through a table. Swerve is out now. Like, it's finally, that's it. Contract is signed. They are all set for their heavyweight title match at Dynasty, and I'm really, really pumped for that. I want to see Swerve win the title, even though there's a chance that it might not happen, due to maybe an MJF return or, because we'd like to see that rematch as well. There are many interesting things that can happen. And that is going to end this episode of AEW Dynamite. I thank you for rocking with us on this one. It is WrestleMania weekend, guys. We are really going to enjoy everything this weekend. Triple H has been quoted saying he's going to blow our minds. It is going to be the best WrestleMania of all time, is what he's been quoted saying at WWE World today. So we don't have to wait anymore. The time is here. But before we go, we are going to hit you with On This Day in Wrestling History.
And on this day in wrestling history, we have a notable wrestling birthday. I say notable, not notables.
It's a big one.
Not multiples. But hey, it's one that's big enough for all. It's Peter Maivia's birthday, born in 1937.
Yeah, happy birthday to the High Chief Peter Maivia. That is definitely a cool one. And on this day in wrestling history, crazy one here, 2014 WrestleMania 30 was held at the New Orleans Mercedes-Benz Superdome for over 75,000 heads. And Mike, this was the night the Undertaker streak was broken. To the Beast incarnate, Brock Lesnar. He defeated the Undertaker in the biggest shock that I could ever remember. At that point, it was 21 straight WrestleManias. The Undertaker always kicked out at 2. And I remember watching live in a room full of friends when his shoulders did not come up, and it was a 3 count. Just like you could hear a pin drop.
Yeah.
Everywhere in the world at that point.
Crowd looked upset.
Crowd was very upset. 21-1. I don't think Brock Lesnar. I don't think it's quoted. Taker's been quoted saying he doesn't think that Brock should have been the one. He wanted it to be somebody else. He said maybe even give that to Roman. But unfortunately it was a Vince call, and that call was made. Basically right before the match. And Taker was supposed to win that match. Ended up getting changed. The streak was broken, and Undertaker was never the same again on this day in wrestling history.
And on this day in wrestling history, in 2010, Rey Mysterio defeated CM Punk in a street fight.
Ooh.
You didn't think that would happen, CM Punk losing in a street fight. It was a WWE SmackDown taping.
And it was in his hometown of Chicago.
The Allstate Arena in Chicago. So that's very interesting news. That CM Punk had lost
in his hometown in Chicago.
On this day.
Wow,
to Rey Mysterio.
Yeah, to Rey Mysterio, the greatest luchador of all time. On this day in wrestling history, 1997, the second annual WCW Spring Stampede pay-per-view took place in Tupelo, Mississippi. The event is unfortunately remembered for a botched promo from Booker T, and Scott Hall famously no-showing the event. Probably too drunk, whatever the case may have been, had better shit to do, I guess, Razor. On the card, Rey Mysterio Jr. defeated the Ultimo Dragon. We also had Prince Iokea defeating Lord Steven Regal to retain the WCW Television Championship, and I really missed that title. That was defended all the time, always changing hands. Dean Malenko and Chris Benoit fought to a no contest for the WCW United States Heavyweight Championship. We also had Diamond Dallas Page defeating the Macho Man, Randy Savage in the main event, no DQ match. So Spring Stampede, I remember those. They kind of used to do them like, I believe they were annual once a year, and they kind of just went away after a while. On this day in wrestling history, all that happened, guys.
Yeehaw.
Yeet or no yeet?
Yeet, for sure.
Definitely yeet. And that is going to end this episode 26 of the Source Wrestling Podcast. We appreciate you guys listening. We wish you a happy WrestleMania weekend. It's going to be crazy. WrestleMania 40 is upon us. Once again, this is The Source. You can find us on Spotify, YouTube, Facebook, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music. Follow us on X. Follow us on Instagram. Follow us on TikTok. Your sister's ass. It doesn't matter what it is. You will find us there. Once again, you are listening to The Source, WWE, AEW, All Things Wrestling Podcast with Joe
And
Mike.
yeah.
Yeah, let us talk to you after WrestleMania.